I'll start with the direct equipment labor portion. That is found in the exact same place that you would do your employee time. So what this is going to bring up, typically it would default to the activity. I'll just flip that. So I have my list of employees all to the left. Now I have my job, my subsection, if I'm breaking up my job into multiple different subsections, and then my hours type. I know that I've gone through some of the time entry stuff with you guys. And then my time entry grid. We have now inserted the ability to do this same function, but directly to a piece of equipment. So as soon as I change that, you'll see this adjust itself. Still selecting my employee, but now I have the ability to select from a drop down of all of the existing equipment. You can see that drop down right there. The grid and the time entry is the exact same as the regular employee time entry. The only difference being that this is going to cost it directly to the equipment piece. I can also flip my hours type if I'm costing it at time and a half or double time. Now I'll go into the ERP because both the employee labor and the equipment labor will funnel into the same place for the admins to approve their time. Essentially what you would see here is the employee, the job that I've selected, all of the hours that I've brought in through mobile. You can see that the source ID is mobile over to the right. The equipment piece will fall in the same list of values as the job. So for the payroll admin's purposes of approving time, they can see all of the time tagged to jobs and all of the time tagged to equipment in the exact same place to approve time. I'll go back to my home screen. So the assignments and logs do go hand in hand because the log does rely on the equipment assignment. So I'm going to go and show you the assignments portion first. So within the job, let's pretend I'm a site supervisor. I'm going to go and pick my job. I have this test equipment job that I use for our test database. We have this equipment assignment feature up there. So as soon as I select my job, hit equipment assignments, this is going to show me all of the equipment that I have currently assigned out to my job. It's going to show how long that it's been on site. It will show the last log date, the last time I actually performed an equipment log. So you have full transparency of, hey, I have this, excavator that's sat on site for, 4 weeks and I haven't used it in 4 weeks. So that's my equipment on site. If I want to add a new piece, I just hit this add new. You'll see this unassigned equipment drop down. What this is going to show is any equipment piece that is not currently assigned out to another job. So that's going to restrict my ability as a user to go and pick something that is on somebody else's job until they actually return it from their own job. So this is all of the free to grab equipment, if you will. Won't grab any of those. So with my existing equipment, I do have a couple different options for how I can handle those when I don't have it on site anymore. If I simply want to return it and I'm not moving it to a new job, I'll just pick this guy at the top. I just hit this return. It's going to ask if I want to return it. And then as soon as I refresh, you'll see it move off of my list. And then it will essentially be available in the add new section for any other user or job to then go and assign it out to their job. If I want to move it to a different job, let's say I know where it's going and I'm going to be coordinating shipping it to a different job, instead of returning it, I can actually move it from one job to another, and I'll just pick this top job, hit submit, and again, once I refresh, you'll see it move off of my job. Now when I flip my job to the job that I sent it to, you'll see it exists in this incoming equipment. So this is all of the equipment that already exists on this job. This is the one that I just sent. This gives the user on the receiving end of that transaction the ability to actually commit receiving it or reject it if a mistake has been made. So I'm just going to say, yep, that's good. I want this on site, received. As soon as I refresh it, it syncs down to the ERP, creates all of the transactions that I need to, and then I'm good. In the ERP portion, where you can see the equipment assignments is right here, or if I go directly to the equipment piece that I was assigning out, so I'll go and grab my test one. I can see all of the previously assigned transactions, so all of the old jobs that I've assigned it to and returned it to. When I create a new assignment, it's going to create it as open-ended. That's because we didn't want to force the user in mobile to have to specify an end date, like I'm signing it out for exactly 2 weeks. We keep it open-ended because it exists on my job until I tell it otherwise. Until I create that transaction to return it or move it in the mobile app, it will remain assigned out with an open-ended end date. Now that I have all of my equipment assigned to my job, everything looks good. The last portion and the other main portion that we've instilled since we last spoke is equipment logs. So you'll notice that the screen looks very similar to our regular time entry, but this is not mechanic time. This is me utilizing the equipment piece and costing the equipment's time to the job. So I'm going to do my test equipment piece. I know that I have it assigned to a job. You'll notice that this dropdown is going to be limited to only the job or multiple jobs that I have it assigned to within the week that I have selected. So if I have it moving from job to job every day of the week, my dropdown list of jobs will populate each job that it was assigned to within the date parameters that I have specified. Right now, I only have it assigned to the one. Now, the time entry is done the exact same way that you would do regular time entry. And to your question, all of the different activity codes that will be linked to cost codes is where you're going to be allocating how you're costing that time. Essentially, I would just be entering all of my time through each one of the days, each one of the cost codes, sync it down, and where you would see all of that information is in the equipment log screen. And I'll just pick any of the top ones. So we've got a couple here. The grid looks very similar to the labor entry, but it's just breaking it out by the actual equipment performing the labor on the job with the subsection activity code, the costing buckets, and the hours per day. If I had an hourly rate that I wanted to assign to the equipment piece, this value would default. This test equipment just doesn't have a rate set up on the equipment profile, but if I'm charging, say, $50 or $75 an hour for utilization, you would have that automatically populate within the screen when I created the log.